Everybody, welcome to Freedom Talk. I'm pleased to have a good friend here, a real warrior, someone who's been a targeted parent and also fought for election integrity. Leah Hoopes, glad to see you.
Hi, Kelly. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, absolutely. And please tell us a little bit about yourself and the issues you're working on right now. I know we want to talk a lot about weaponization against parents, but maybe a little introduction would help.
Absolutely. So I live in Delaware County, Pennsylvania. I became a Republican committee woman in 2019, and I started investigating my county during that time. And I was working with an excellent patriot group, and we all came together, just blue-collar people who had an interest in saving our republic. Our county was Republican for 150 years. It flipped to Democrat, and that included a Soros DA, Jack Stolzheimer, that was implemented into my county, and our whole council flipped to not just Democrat, these are Democratic socialists. And of course, 2020 happened, and I knew that this was a planned action to install tyranny and to see how much people would comply. I knew very early on. I started networking early in April of 2020 up in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. I met a lot of patriots, and I started collecting and networking people and information. And then our investigations into the 2020 election started in May of 2020, early April. We started looking into the CTCL money that was coming in from Mark Zuckerberg that was being invested into my county. We started looking into the people that came into my county that were working in the elections, and also groups like Indivisible and so on and so on. And of course, at the very same time, I was fighting against COVID. I was helping and working alongside of frontline doctors. I was getting people ivermectin and fundamental, basic stuff, medical stuff that they were not able to get because they didn't want to go to the hospital because they knew they would be trached and become, ventilated, if you will. So I was also fighting against the masks, and that led me to being a target of the National School Board Association. I was used as example number 12 in that letter. I've been a target of Arctic Frost. I've been sued 3 times. I have been nationally defamed. I have had the FBI at my front door, the Pennsylvania Attorney General, for multiple reasons. And I also have evidence that they all coordinated together across the board. So whether it was if I was petitioning my government for election fraud, or I was going to school board meetings, or a targeted parent, or if I was fighting COVID, I was 100% surveillanced, and they used the government, they weaponized the government and tried to intimidate and harass me and use lawfare to silence me.
Yeah, and there you are at this Washington, D.C. press conference we did last July when it was about 500 degrees.
And, that's an understatement.
Yeah, you got to speak out, and it sounds like, in terms of weaponization of lawfare, you're an overachiever.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Who knew? That's definitely nothing that I ever thought would have happened as a law-abiding citizen.
Yeah.
It's definitely not anything that I thought would happen. I was very naive when I got into politics, and that is no more. I've always been a fighter, Kelly, just like yourself. I do what's right, and I just I fight for the Republic, not the Republican Party. So
yeah. So my story, and anybody can find it on realfreedomtalk.com, especially on that Parents Demanding Justice page. Targeted, arrested, falsely convicted, all the rest, simply because I spoke out against what the establishment was doing to parents and especially to children. And I started with the COVID policies that were driving kids to suicide. And the reason these school districts were doing it, I found out later, was they were being paid large amounts of money by the CDC to keep force masking kids and the rest. Yep. And then, things went to critical race theory, transgender indoctrination, Marxism, all the rest. So Leah, I think I met you because I was working on this for a number of years and really started to focus, because I fought for a lot of things like you have, but I really started to focus on this weaponization against parents. It's been devastating to my family. A long story short, we had to leave Tucson, Arizona, and flee to Tennessee, a red state, because of the just severity of the persecution. Business gone, job cancel cultured out of that, savings gone, home gone, all the rest. And we have many, many stories like this in our dossier of targeted parents. So we thought, wow, if Trump wins, Kash Patel gets in, all these people are in, we started getting hopeful, like, wow, they're going to turn this around. They're going to make things right for us. They're going to see that we were victims of federal weaponization. But and so we did things like the press conference. We put together this dossier. We came together in having our common concerns. We had some members of Congress come alongside us, I think even Senator Hawley for a while. But what has been your journey, and have you gotten help and redress of grievances from the Trump administration now that they're holding these offices?
No, absolutely not. I've not received help from anyone. And quite honestly, I'm at the point where I have basically put my nose to the grindstone. I dug my trench a long time ago. And when I thought the cavalry was coming, it didn't, and it hasn't. And I've suffered tremendously. And that's my journey. And suffering is a part of life, and it's our part of being a Christian. And I have no regrets, to be quite honest. No, I don't. I've never had help. I was actually a co-defendant with President Trump. I was promised by one of his attorneys, Michael Medeo, who was a partner with Alina Habba, who's another fraud, that they would come in and help us in Philadelphia. And we battled that out for 900 days. I represented myself alongside of Greg Stenstrom, who also represented himself in that case. And we battled it out in Philadelphia and won that case. They ended up withdrawing with no help from Trump's attorneys, no help from anyone in the Trump administration. To be honest, I mean, the help that we've gotten, from great people, podcasters, Joe Kelsall, Emerald Robinson. There's been so many people that have, Mike Lindell has been awesome in getting out the word for patriots. There's just the people that's been supporting us, and, my faith in God. And I don't rely on government, and I'm certainly not I don't trust the government. We're not supposed to trust the government. And quite honestly, all I've ever seen is lies, deception, and promises that are not kept, that have not been kept to me on a personal level. So it is what it is. I'm not boo-hooing. I'm not sad that I didn't get my tiara at the homecoming, or that I wasn't in the spotlight. And that's just so high school nonsense. It has nothing to do with that. My son was a target. I've been through a divorce. It's caused me grief. What I've been through is nothing short of traumatic.
Yeah, I went through a divorce in 2010 and grappled even then back in Bend, Oregon, with these Marxist schools. And actually, before all of this even happened recently under Garland and Biden, I had, for no reason at all, except that I'm a male, I guess, I had a Marxist principal. And I say Marxist because the teachers were going around with Che Guevara shirts on, pull out a criminal trespass order on me simply to keep me from picking up my son, who's now 22. And I ended up fighting all the way to the superintendent of schools, who finally said, I'm going to write you a letter of apology and rescind that. Now my son's 22 and he's lamenting having missed out on having time with me. Well, I was a volunteer in their schools from kindergarten on. So now I'm in the place of saying, Zach, I was there for you all along. I was literally prevented from seeing you. So that's how our schools have been for a long time. And so I really sympathize what you've been through. I founded Parents Demanding Justice Alliance. I've talked to every single parent. Recently, the treatment we've gotten from DOJ, including a meeting I had on January 23rd, where Van Stay, who's senior counsel for Todd Blanche, once again said, we don't negotiate with terrorists. He said, this is a state issue. There's no federal remedy. And he said, if we have a hearing, which, by the way, he said it'd be 6 months down the line, and I'm up there saying, hey, parents are suffering right now. He said, we only want squeaky clean people. So knowing these things, because I've released them, and like you said, Emerald Robinson was great at sharing this. Some others have chickened out, I think. What's been your impression of that, and listening to those recordings and seeing the posture of the present DOJ?
So it seems that it's okay for Project Veritas. By the way, I worked with Project Veritas, which we caught the government officials in Delaware County not only committing fraud and felonies, but then covering it up. So my thing is that why would anyone on their right mind have an issue with you taking recordings of government officials, other than they have an ulterior motive and they want to play along to get along because they have, I don't know, self-interest or something that they want to do, and they just they play the game. And people like that, I feel, are in the same pot as the left wing. I don't understand that mentality. I will never understand it. I got a terrible feeling from quite a few people that I met that day at the press conference. I didn't trust them. I didn't like them. I knew that they didn't have the same convictions, morals, and values that I did. And I was spot on about those people. And I really had no expectation, especially when I found out that the October hearing that we were promised was canceled. And then obviously what happened, with you, Kelly. I stand by you 1000%. I know where your heart is, your morals, your values. You have a great family. Your wife is awesome. I have that good God-given instinct, and what happened to you and the people that have screwed you over, have screwed us over,
Mhm.
and taken our stories and have run with it. And there's been some interesting communications that I've had with those people. And if you don't mind me sharing, I would love to talk about those communications because I'm an extremely transparent person. What you did is courageous. Good for you that you got them on tape and showing the world exactly who they are and what they're all about. So if anyone has a problem with that, then you're part of the problem. And obviously you have things that you just, I don't know, you want to hide from people. It's more about your reputation and spotlight than the truth. So
Yeah, and
shame on you.
that's what I found. Just to lay a little groundwork, and it is open mic, so I'm not going to censor anything you want to say because you are one of the targeted parents that I've stepped up to help and represent. Although you've been a great ally, but what I found was that I made these recordings not planning to do them, but when I heard how this official was speaking, I said, I got to do this to protect our family, because when you refer to parents as terrorists, that's not just a slight or a slander. That's something that was used legally, because people may not understand that the FBI put a terrorist threat tag on us. So illegal under the Patriot Act designation that had severe repercussions for our families. And I've found that, the posture of the DOJ has been, well, just be patient. You're being impatient. Stop pushing at us. And, meanwhile, we have broken relationships because people saw the just garbage articles about us. We have bogus criminal convictions, and all of it is federal. All of it is federal. So, in that context, I chose to make these recordings public. I knew it was legal, but I had some pushback, and really from people who claim to be conservatives. So any of that you want to talk about as witnessing,
absolutely. I am not.
Fine with me.
These people don't intimidate me by their platforms and their nonsense and kabuki theater that I just saw at the round table. I think it's disgusting what is transpiring right now. I'll say it. I'd say it right to their face. I don't care who they are or what platform they have. The truth is the truth. And the fact of the matter is, if anyone has ever come after you, especially, and has questioned or even reprimanded you and pearl clutched and in their self-righteous nonsense, it's blasphemy to me. So the fact that Sam Sorbo has taken it upon herself, which I never consented to and never gave permission to someone who's not a targeted parent to take my story or anyone else to speak for me, is absolutely insane. I've seen it for 6 years now. What people do, they take your stories, they take your ideas, they take and they either monetize it or they use it for their own spotlight. And when someone cares more about reputation than character, I don't want you in my circle. And I definitely don't want you representing anything that I've ever had to say, because I've never even spoken to Sam Sorbo about it. And then on top of that, I get a communication. I haven't talked to Sharona Bishop since the press conference. And the fact that she put something out on Facebook after this little spotlight moment of all of them in a picture, and I made a comment under it of why wasn't Kelly Walker there? Why weren't the parents told about it? I asked questions. I didn't make accusations. I didn't make statements. None of that. I asked questions. And I got sent a text message at 8:30 in the morning by Sharona, ripping me apart, telling me that I should have asked her personally, instead of making accusations and she was completely self-righteous and rude. And I made sure I put her in her place. And I'm sure she'll see this video. Don't you ever, I'm going to let people know and warn them. Don't you ever in your life ever reach out to me and try to communicate something as if I answer to you. I don't. The phone works two ways, sweetheart. You had an opportunity to reach out to me and every other parent and give us the consideration, but you didn't. You had my phone number, and instead you try and decide and tell me how I should speak, what I should say, what I can talk about, who I should ask questions to. Who the hell do you think you are? This is what pisses me off about our side. I don't claim these people. Sharona wasn't even a targeted parent, Her stuff had to do with the election. So let's set that straight. She wasn't a part of the National School Board Association letter. She wasn't targeted by the FBI for school board meetings. So let's start there, sweetie. I am so sick and tired, Kelly, and excuse me for my rant, but I am angry, righteous anger, because I do read my Bible. And when I have people like that who stare me in the face and hug me and pretend that they actually care, it pisses me off. You are the kind of people that I want out of this side. I don't want you on my side. You don't represent me. You don't get to speak for me. You don't get to speak for the other parents. I am disgusted with what I'm watching. And I knew, and I tried to tell you, and everybody has their own journey. These people do not have our best interest, period.
Well, I'm not afraid to confront anyone either. And I'm in this unique position of not only being the founder of PDJA, but being a targeted parent, really the only targeted parent. And I asked other people to come alongside.
Yes, you did.
But the reason I haven't named names, I've gone out and talked about the events and I've protested it, is that I've wanted the targeted parents to give their opinions, because I don't want to come across as being territorial or like that should have been me. I don't need to be in front of the camera. I don't want exposure. I worked in marketing and advertising for years. Literally, the tagline of my company was putting your business in the limelight. I don't crave the spotlight. I've stepped into it knowing I would be a target. And one of the parents said, Kelly, I watched that roundtable. That should have been you up there. Yeah, maybe so. I think it should have been some targeted parent. But I think excluding me was absolutely unthinkable, because it's not just about me. I represent a lot of voices. A lot of people are looking to me saying, Kelly, would you please speak out for us? I've accepted that. And I think what's particularly, I'll just say downright evil, is the DOJ curating this event, closely controlling it, saying who could testify and not. They had one, maybe two parents out of how many of us. They excluded me specifically. They excluded anybody who they didn't think fit their narrative. And what they're doing is they're protecting the institution. So they had Kash Patel up there, they had Todd Blanche, they had several others. And Jim Jordan was up there. And it's interesting because with this whitewash, fraudulent event that they had that didn't represent our voices, they touted this America First Liberty report showing Garland's memos and emails with the National School Board Association and such, as if it was breaking news. I submitted all of that to Jim Jordan in 2023 in person. And thanks to him and several members of Congress, including Andy Biggs and Andy Ogles and Eli Crane, they all stood with us. And I have over 500 pages of these communications on realfreedomtalk.com. And I was very happy when America First Legal came out with their smoking gun report. It did fill in some holes, but I have to say, I've had this on the public record for years. So why is DOJ now thumping their chests and Kash Patel saying, oh, look at what we found? No, they had it. And it makes me wonder, did they just take my work and America First Liberties and claim credit for that? In point of fact, in January, you can listen to the recordings, they were trying to push all of this away. And they have blackballed people. They've blackballed other parents who have filed their cases. And I have that on recording too, saying basically they don't like their demeanor, so they're just going to send them out there and not do anything. So it's really interesting too. You've probably seen this. Tom Fitton from Judicial Watch has said somebody needs to investigate the DOJ and FBI, and it can't be the DOJ and FBI. I like Kash Patel. I have his phone number. I've talked to people in his circle, his girlfriend. I've talked to Kash. They know who I am. Instead of being genuine and saying, you know what, we're sorry for that, we're going to deal with that, they've chosen to cut me out and exclude me and you and other voices. How do you feel about being excluded? Do you feel like this is any different than what you experienced under the Biden administration, as far as your free speech goes?
No, I mean, my evidence it's sitting in multiple, venues, in courts, state, federal, and not just that, but the DOJ is in possession of everything that I've ever sent them because I've given them disclosures. So they have all of the information, but yet nobody's been prosecuted. I don't care about firings. It was a coup. Okay. It is a coup. Well, our government was tyrannical. Let's just put it out there. These people should be tried for, let me say it very, very slowly for you. Treason. This is treason. Okay. This is what firing. That's a joke to me.
Well, it is. And I want people arrested because they cause such immense harm to us, not only to us economically, but reputational. I've made it public that my oldest son, I wasn't even invited to his wedding, and very close relationship. But what caused a rift was this lie that I'm a terrorist, and this lie that was put out by the federal government. And Merrick Garland couldn't find that federal hook he wanted, and it's all on the record. So he went out to his partners in the state and the National School Board Association and used them to carry out what he wanted to do. And Kash Patel sat up there and said, "Oh yeah, we've fired the FBI agents." Well, what are their names? Do you know the name of the guy who visited my coffee shop, who I have emails from? How do I know this? How do I know you fired them? And where are the arrests? Because they sure as hell arrested us. And where's our relief? We haven't even gotten an apology. What's that?
Jason Huff is the name of the special agent in the FBI that came to my door in
Has
February.
he been fired? Do you know?
No. Mm-mm.
Okay.
You know why? Do you know why we weren't invited? Do you know why? Because we can't be controlled.
Because we speak the truth. Because we
That's
can't be
right.
controlled.
Because we can't be controlled. We're not puppets. We're not sellouts. And on top of it, if this were actual real testimony with real evidence, first of all, you can't speak on behalf of someone. That is the most, and obviously, whoever is like shoving this narrative down someone's throat doesn't understand how actual criminal investigations work, how you get evidence on the record, how an investigation goes. They don't understand. So someone like me or someone like you, okay, no one can speak on our behalf and testify for us because that would be hearsay. So, and if I'm not in front and I'm not sworn in, right, then the evidence just doesn't exist.
I've worked for 5 years as a broke father because the government broke us. We've lost everything we've worked for. We're starting over. I'm 56. I've worked my butt off. I've traveled up to DC on my own expense. You know, somehow survived all of this. And in part so that you and I and all these other parents could have a chance to stand in front of the microphone and say, this is what they did to me. I'm a nobody with nothing. And look how far I've come. I have no money, no name. You think these sons of bitches are going to stop me? Hell no.
My hat's off to you that you're totally credible and you're totally organized. And so you're saying, but we've done all this. Where's our action? I'm totally with you. Now, I would say this. You want to be the leader of when the hoax is broken, you're the hoax breaker. Is there somebody that's really good that helps you in the White House?
Well, it's supposed to be Vince Haley. This is what these people took away. This is what somebody else jumped to the front because they wanted the spotlight. They don't deserve that. And I wouldn't care if it was you sitting up there or Chad Williams or any number of these parents. I don't care that it's me. I just care that this goes on the testimony, that the nation knows what happened. But the deep state is the DOJ, and they want to rewrite history. They want to obscure things. I don't understand how I could put this recording out where these people who are bound by executive order and other documents, the Judiciary Committee, to make this right for calling us terrorists, and then catch them on recording saying we don't negotiate with terrorists. Why isn't President Trump furious about that? Why is Todd Blanche still in office? I want the guy fired.
Yep.
I want a lot of people
The Democrat?
fired.
Yeah. The Democrat. I said the Democrat, Todd Blanche?
Yeah, the Democrat Todd Blanche, who suddenly converted in 2024. I know that I'm outspoken. I know that I didn't even mean to record them. I did it out of survival. And I came home after that January meeting, and my wife and I went right back into the trauma. Like, are they coming for us? Are they coming to our door? When we moved here from Tucson, my wife would have panic attacks when a car would drive up to the door because are they coming to get me? You know, they can do all the PR they want. You know, they're going to have this wonderful 250th year video where everybody's pumping up and saying what a great job they did. But customer satisfaction, you might say, is what it is. A lot of people in this country are seeing through it and they're saying bullshit.
Yep.
You're not delivering what you promised. You're pumping yourself up. You want to look good. And maybe this is a problem with putting people who had podcasts and wrote books into these positions because they're so used to marketing themselves. I don't give a damn what your name is. I give a damn what the name of these parents is and that they get justice. And they're still suffering. I have people coming to me all the time. I'm having people coming to me saying their children were trafficked and how do they get their children back? So this guy, Vance Day, is going to sit there giving his life back by Donald Trump, if you want to look into his record, and say, there's nothing we can do for you. And then, but, you know, we'll have a hearing 6 months later. Well, that's another 6 months that Alexandra is away from her daughter that she dreams of reconciling with. That's another 6 months that I don't have something that I can give to my oldest son and say, I didn't do this. I'm not a terrorist. You know, you want to sit there in your cushy seat and say, maybe in 6 months we'll do this, but we want squeaky clean people. We want to control the narrative. By the way, Kelly, you're not invited. The reason Vance Day gave that I wasn't invited was because of my bogus criminal record. But they went back later and revised it and said, no, we're not inviting Kelly because he did this recording of us and he can't be trusted. I'm not the one that's supposed to win back trust. I didn't attack the DOJ. They are the ones that are responsible for restoring our trust, and they're doing a piss poor job, and I'll say it.
So help me understand. So the DOJ, while they sit there and say they don't want someone that speaks out about the DOJ while the DOJ is investigating the DOJ for being treasonous And so how does that's just, so I want to talk about something, because I hear you so many times, and I hear other people, they get when they get attacked, right? Because the people that are guilty of doing what they do, they redirect the conversation, right? Oh, Kelly, how nobody wants to work with you. This is what I've heard from people. Kelly, people don't want to work with you because you did that recording. I can't do this with you anymore because I worry about my reputation. I think that we should be praising them, and making it look like they're doing their job, and I don't know, lying to the public, or that they've lowered the bar. And because they've lowered the bar and that's what they've accepted, then you should accept it too. Well,
Yeah.
let me tell you something.
Yeah.
I don't care about being invited to the parties and the spotlight and the kabuki theater. Okay. None of that works for me. I don't care. And the redirection, and when they move the goalposts and they try to use this psychological warfare, it doesn't change the fact that they're not doing their job. And it is my responsibility as one of the people to hold my government to task. Yeah. That's it. Yep. And their responsibility, according to our founding fathers, is they're supposed to protect our rights. That's it. That's the role of government. Anything past that is nonsense to me. So if they're not doing that, and then I hear from people that want to get in with the in crowd, and then they look at me and go, you're not squeaky clean, or you just don't say the things that I want you to. You are filtering my speech. You are commanding things from me. You are no different than the left. You're no different than the Biden regime. And I would say it right to their face, right to their face. I want to say, tell me what to do.
I want to say this to the members of the media that have cozied up to me and taken the first part of this story, but don't have the guts to report when it gets ugly. I want to say this to the members of Congress and the Senate who came alongside and got their little publicity moment, but have cut me off and stopped talking to me because now it's inconvenient. I have 4 words for you. It's not about you. It's about the people who've suffered.
Yep.
And if you're going to cower out now, we're all seeing it. We all know it. And we outnumber you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not a threat.
Nope. Just a fact.
That's extreme disappointment. And where are you now? Where are you now? Like, we're in our Bonhoeffer moment here. And where are you? You're holding these big religious spiritual revival events in Washington, D.C. But the church, where's the church? Now that we know what's happened to these people, where is the church? These people are scrabbling to try to get some sort of restitution from the government. Thanks, President Trump, for the idea, but it should put the churches to shame that a civil government is reaching forward to help these people. But where are the Franklin Grahams and all the other talking heads who want to be in the spotlight? What are you doing to help these people? Because these
absolutely
people,
nothing.
No, these people should be helped. We came back from the January 23, just a horrible event. On a Friday, I drove back, went to church on Sunday, and we got a sermon about just submit to the governing authorities. That was a breach of confidence because I had been talking to them about what I was going through. And I don't want to go into that story, but it's horrific. If you think your job as a Christian is to just submit to tyranny and lies and oppression, you haven't read your Bible. Do you know about Queen Esther? Do you know about Jeremiah? Do you know about all these characters who said we ought to obey God rather than men? And do you understand that we are the government? That, as James Madison said, the people are the only legitimate fountain of power? You don't render to Caesar what's Caesar's. We don't have a Caesar. You render to the people what's due to them. And if it's not done, we have things like the Declaration of Independence. We have rights where we can come out and say, you're failing us, you're breaking the social compact, and we are not happy. So churches don't tell people to sit down and be good little boys and girls. I heard this in church. You don't have any rights.
Oh.
I said audibly, not yelling, I just said, yes, we do. That infuriated the pastor. And I found myself in a room with 5 so-called elders trying to push this on me. And I held my ground. Yeah, I don't want to go into that story, but the condition in this country, are you kidding me? Like, we can't even, we're sending money to the Taliban. We've got fraud left and right, but we can't scrape together a few $100,000, maybe $1 million for some of these parents. I tallied it up because we did an evaluation of all the claims on our dossier, and it came out to $9 million, and a high estimate. You can't find $9 million to restore the lives that you took away.
Well,
what the hell are we even voting for anymore?
So, I mean, again, I could go the rest of my life never getting like anything. I don't care. Like, I
Yeah,
don't
the
want to
money's
say I
not
don't
the point.
care,
No.
but like, I don't, like, I'm not sitting here. I'm not saying that you're doing that either, but I make my own way, right? If you're not going to let me at your table, I make my own table. That's just how I roll always. So I think I have more wins in Pennsylvania than any of Trump's attorneys do
Yeah.
in Pennsylvania against Josh Shapiro in court, by the way. And that's what I'm going to continue to do. I'm going to hold my government accountable. So I'll give you, for instance.
Let me just interject real
Sure.
quick. I do want to hear that, but I want to say it's not about the money. But in point of fact, lives were stolen from people, and I think that's deserved. And that's why I call it restitution, not reparations, not some hazy concept. It's actual demonstrable damage. And I'm talking with a very well-known lawyer about this. He's very interested in representing us. But really, just dignity. When you're told again you're a terrorist, when you're excluded, you don't feel like your government gives a damn about you. You don't feel like they've changed. And I'm tired of hearing about the Biden DOJ. It's the DOJ.
Mm-hmm. They don't care about us. They don't. So let's just put that out there. And our government. So that's why there's always the checks and balance of the people, right? So I don't expect them. They just need to do their job. So, and if they don't care, and I have people like Todd Blanche calling me a terrorist, first of all, I would love for you to say that to my face. It would never happen. But second, or Van Stay or whoever these people are, because I've gone up against a lot of people, government officials, judges, and I told them exactly what I thought to them right to their face.
Well, and by the way,
I put them in their place,
yeah,
because that's what we're supposed to do. You don't need to be my friend. I don't need to like you. You're going to do your job. And if you don't, I'm going to sue you, period.
Yeah.
That's how it's going to be.
And Van Stay's response to me by text is, I don't know how you could do something like that and expect anything good out of it. Someone in Cash's inner circle and two people, actually, supporters, said basically the same thing. You've ruined your reputation with these people. Don't expect anything from it. That's a threat.
There it is.
That's whistleblower retaliation.
There it is. Reputation. But you know what's great? Your character. Because you know why? That supersedes everything. Your character, not your reputation. Okay, it's your character. Because you caught them doing something, okay, and exposing them for what they are. And they try to turn it around and be like, oh, your reputation's ruined. Okay. Oh my God, I'm gonna go cry about it. Like, no, if they don't want to do anything about it, I have plenty of alternatives of what we can do. Plenty, which I won't talk about today. But don't you ever tell me, any one of these people, don't you ever tell me that I can't do anything, or you're not going to have me at the table. I'm going to force you. Okay, I'm going to make my table over here, and then I'm going to force you to do your job, because that's what I've been doing. So I'll tell you how I do it in my local community. Okay, 1,048 days ago.
I'm glad people are starting to see this. Joe Hoft sees it. Gateway Ponent does. Grant Stinchfield sees it. Now Tom Fenton. It's interesting because Van Stay actually called Brandon Straka and wanted him to defend him, a guy who, by the way, got in trouble for refusing to do a gay marriage. And Brandon was like, I don't even know what this is. What's going on? And he first allegedly, Van Stay tried to pass off that I threatened him. Well, that wasn't going to hold water because I have the recording. Of course, I didn't threaten him. But why not just say, gosh, I wasn't really up on this. I used a poor word choice. I'm sorry. At least something like that. But no, they're going to double down. They're going to try to silence me. Good luck with that. Here's the thing. These communities, the parents, the J6 communities, the election deniers, so-called, we're not the kind of people that are going to be silenced. That's why we're here in the first place. So good luck with that. Good luck. You're just going to make people more irritated and more determined and more tenacious. I am never a proponent for violence. I know why we have the Second Amendment. It's basically to defend yourself from tyranny. I don't want things to go to that place. But my weapon is my voice and my keyboard and my little camera here. So don't try to suppress that, because you're no different than the Biden DOJ. You're no different than Merrick Garland. Stop trying to say the Biden DOJ. It's the DOJ. And this lady who's escorted me in and out of that building twice, she's worked there for 50 years. She's told me about all the presidents that have come and gone. You think Joe Biden and Merrick Garland did this in a vacuum? No, the DOJ was ripe for this. There are some honest people there. There were honest people who called Merrick Garland out. There are people right now who, for instance, left the so-called weaponization working group because they were disgusted. But don't bite the hand that feeds you. We're the taxpayers. It just is beyond the pale.
It is. It is. But, all we can do is just, again, it starts at the local level. That's just what I'm sticking to. Delaware County ended up suing me and Greg Stenstrom. It's been 1,048 days. They sued us for exercising our First Amendment, which I'm still going through, by the way. This is all a result of me being an alternate elector, me testifying in Gettysburg, me providing the Project Veritas whistleblower sting operation that we did, me going on podcasts, writing the book, The Parallel Election. I mean, we were retaliated against. And once I got all the public records from my county and proved that they retaliated through against us and used taxpayer dollars to retaliate and sue us for malicious prosecution, we have destroyed them in court. I mean, it's been, like I said, over 1,000 days, and they're using a law firm, Duane Morris, which is international. And it's just me and Greg and me and my pen and my computer and my brain and the truth. And just the other day, they wanted to mutually walk away. But here's the great deal they offered, Kelly, and I laughed in their face. They said, we'll walk away from this action as long as you promise not to file in federal court against us. What do you think I did with that? What do you think I did with that offer?
Did it have to do with that baseball bat behind you?
You like that? That's pretty awesome. My boyfriend got me that. It says, "We the
awesome.
People" on it. That's basically my attitude about how I feel about people telling me what to do. It just, I told him to shove it. I said, either way, so you're either going to compensate me tremendously, we could just stop right here, or I'm going to take it to federal court and then I'm going to put it in front of a jury. So I win either way, but I'm the defendant, Kelly. They're offering me settlement. This is the second time I've been offered settlement as the defendant, not the plaintiff, the defendant.
Look, we all know. I started writing using the term lawfare back in 2022 or 23. It was hardly even used. Now it's a household word. We all know it's happening. We all know the law continues to be used against us. There's a higher law, and that is, the founders wrote about it. It's natural law. It's our God-given rights. And when the law of the land is abused, we go back to that higher law and we claim its authority, similar to what they did in Runnymede, England, and I think it was 1215, when they compelled the king to sign Magna Carta, a listing of their rights. That's exactly what we did at the American Revolution. The colonists knew that there was English common law. They knew that they had certain rights that even the king was supposed to follow. And the reason they first thought of it as an English Civil War, and then they realized we're going to have independence, because we have this long-standing 100-year-old heritage of liberty. So the U.S. took it a big step forward, and now we see what's happening in the original country of England. But what we're doing is more American than what people are doing in Washington, D.C.
There's power in knowledge, right? So here's one of the books. It's called The Founding Brothers.
Oh, I had that. I love that.
Yeah. And then another one, Common Sense, Rights of Man, The Other Essential Writings of Thomas Paine.
Ooh, yeah. We think alike. Look at that. And this one, I have this. I should have highlighted the things I didn't want to emphasize. It's so highlighted. It's so great.
And then Atlas Shrugged is another one of my favorites.
Yeah, that's great.
And then this is one of the books, it's called Court Access and the Common Law. It's by John Durash. And
how many of our people in office have read this? The Federal Papers. Do you really understand how our government's supposed to work? I have this great book here too called The Parallel Election. You see that?
Oh, there it is. There it is.
Right on my set. Yeah.
And you got a signed copy. Hoot hoot.
I signed, yeah.
Yeah, I became an author in all of this. I published a book. Pretty awesome. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Yes.
Kelly, God has brought us to this trench together to fight for God, family, and country. Thank you for inviting me to the press conference and allowing me to speak. May God be with you, your wife, and family. God bless, Leah Hoopes. So I'll say this. The roundtable that was held on June 11th was a farce. It was a phony. Go to realfreedomtalk.com and watch the press conference. Much, much better. But I would also like to, and I'm limited in funding and time. I'm a father of 5, but I would like to do a legitimate roundtable. And by the way, I've gone to all of the targeted parents I could reach unanimously. They're very unhappy with their voices being taken and someone who's not a targeted parent representing them. What we expected was that someone would say, no, we're not going to participate in that unless you have the parents here. And we need to have Kelly here because he's
Mhm.
named number one on that list, one of the most egregiously targeted. But they also want a chance to speak. And I'm talking even people who aren't on the dossier who contacted me recently, like this Ukrainian American mom. Their family immigrated here in 2007 legally. These people want a voice. Todd Blanche, you took away that voice so that you could shout over these people. You picked someone who already, I think his name's Scott Smith from Virginia. He already got legal relief. He got a pardon from Governor Youngkin. So you hand selected somebody who was safe for you, but you don't want us, squeaky dirty people? I don't even know what the opposite of squeaky clean is, but I'll tell you something. It's the DOJ that's not squeaky clean. Every single parent is squeaky clean. Not only that, every single parent is a hero that should be honored for standing up when no one else would. And yet you've treated us with dishonor and shame, and that's to your shame. So we all disavowed that so-called roundtable. We asked people not to speak on our behalf. They went ahead and did it anyway. Yep. So you're going to see this 250th anniversary video, which Vance Day previewed for me in his office. And I want you to see it as a piece of propaganda because it's all about them and their reputations. And where are the arrests? Where's the action? We've been put off. We've been insulted. You know, Samuel Adams, when Governor Gage of Boston put out a warrant for his arrest, and John Hancock sent back this message: tell Governor Gage that I've already made my peace with the King of Kings, and it is the advice of Samuel Adams to no longer offend the feelings of an already exasperated people. And that's exactly what this DOJ has done and continues to do, is insult us. And we're already exasperated because some of us have waited 5 and 6 years to get any kind of relief. And 18 months in, we're treated the same as we were under Biden and Garland. And one of the parents said to me, Kelly, in some ways this is worse than the previous 4 years, because at least we didn't expect them to do the right thing.
This is what we were promised. This is what we were promised during campaigning, during the press conference and everything, that they brought us all in and put us right in front of the spotlight, just like they did to me at Gettysburg, just like they've done to me plenty of times before. And then what happens? Like, you get victimized, right, by literally the federal government, and my state government and my county government. And there's parents who have lost their jobs. They've lost family members. They've lost children. You know what I mean? Like, this is egregious to me.
It really is. And egregious. To those members of Congress, because I hear things, I have sources everywhere. I have a really good intelligence network, to be honest. I've heard other people who say, oh, we don't want to work with Kelly. Well, guess what, Congressman? You have a 10% approval rating. Run along. We don't need you. If you're going to chicken out on us and put your reelection or your whatever it is ahead of actually serving the people, we don't need you. We founded this country before we ever had a government. We founded this country before the lawyers ever came in. In fact, we got tired of people like you constantly getting in the way of our freedom and telling us, you can't do this, you can't do that. There are a few congressmen that I really like, but mostly when I sit down with congressmen or lawyers or these volunteer law firms, they tell me what I can't do. They don't say we're going to fight for you.
Which is why I represent myself in court.
Yeah. So
because I speak with authority. I speak with authority. That is what we were supposed to do. So
when 90% of the nation says you're doing a shit job, don't say you don't want to work with me, because you and me and patriots across this land are actually doing the heavy lifting. Go away.
Yep.
I don't need you.
That's right. That's right. But I'm going to force you to do your job. That's a fact. That's where we're going. I can't wait for this roundtable. I'm always fired up. I idle at 85 miles an hour, Kelly. So I'm ready to roll whenever you are. And I'm not going anywhere. They thought they were going to get rid of me, you, and other people, but you've only... Awesome. It's interesting. You said, talking about your network, like, I talk to people all across this country. Like, they act like we're dumb. Like, you're never going to be able to close the country down again. You're never going to be able to do what you did. You certainly didn't get one over on me or anyone else that was fighting the tyranny and the COVID and everything else. Like, you just keep on playing the same hand and cards and mentality. Like, they're very linear thinkers. And that is how you beat these people at this game, is because they're linear thinkers, because they're self-righteous, because they feel like they're elitist, because they feel like they're above us, because they feel like they can just do everything with impunity. And that doesn't work anymore. Like, what are you getting?
They think it's a privilege for you to talk to them. I think it's a privilege for them to be able to talk to us and to be servants to us. And we do afford them the honor of the position. But when they start to treat us like it's a boon, kiss my ring for you to be able to talk to me, that's ass backwards. That's not how our government's supposed to work. I want to take a break real quick because I do want to do this roundtable. I spend a lot of time working on this. You see these messages below. I know you get asked to donate a lot, but if you want to donate to Give, Send, Go to help in this fight, that's great. You know, I spend a lot of time on this,
Yes,
and I work for a living too. So I'm not building an organization. I'm the opposite of a grifter. But even better, you know, go to realfreedomtalk.com, subscribe to Freedom Talk Magazine, get the paid version. It's $5 a month or $50 a year, because I would really rather give something back and earn it, so that you say, yeah, I helped a good cause, but I'm really getting something great. And I'm for the second month in a row, Leah, I'm going to put an ad in about what you do. Why don't you do a little pitch on your service?
Absolutely. So I am in the middle of I have a publishing consulting company, and it's really just kind of been developed from, like, forged in fire, really. So I help people navigate the court system. I give them information that they need. I tell them, you know, that they are able to navigate the court system without an attorney. I educate them. I provide them with materials and, resources so that they can fight for themselves in court. I also help people get their stories out by investigative journalism. And then also I have a network of, I work with Right Action, Zero Media. If people want to do production of, small videos or movies or documentaries, because of my background, I've co-produced documentaries. So it's kind of a hodgepodge of things, really. And I've learned just from doing, and really from the suffering that I've gone through, so that I can help the people navigate the system and be able to actually protect their rights and protect their kids and their jobs and their free speech and everything else. So
the people that you see making the money building big organizations are often not the ones actually getting things done.
Mm-hmm.
And some of them start well with good intentions, but then they become a self-feeding machine. Look for the people who are reluctant to do this, who are fighting, and who maybe don't have the big name, because those are the people that are really getting it done. Leah, if you have time, I was thinking about playing this recording, just a couple minutes of this recording that you've heard, and I want to get your feedback on it. So this is January 23rd in the office of Todd Blanche's senior counsel. I went up there alone. Imagine going into the belly of the beast of the very institution that created hell for your life and your family's life for years.
Government can't fix a lot of what happened.
The federal government broke?
The federal government breaks a lot of shit. Positive. That the federal government influenced the county police. I bet that. But then it did. But that doesn't mean you have a cause of action.
It is in black and white. I sent you links to it.
No, you didn't send me links.
I sent you the link to the Americans for Liberty report, the Smoking Gun report. We sent you the dossier. I'm the first name on the dossier. It is all there. We took my case.
This, by the way, is a little footage of a young man who came into our Viva Coffee House when we had it. He had been put on suicide watch because of the COVID policies, and I gave his family a platform. This is how Freedom Talk started, by giving people a voice. And because we gave him a voice, he actually talked to a woman who wrote memoirs about being a child in Nazi Germany and under the Soviet airlift. She's hugging this boy. And because of this, he not only went to his own school board and gave him what for, he went to several others.
And some others, and we put them in a file and we sent them to DOJ. I don't know what's going on with Ed, but we sent that to Ed. We brought it to Vince Haley. We've talked to him in person. I sat there and personally told him my story. We've been all over the media. I don't want to be contentious. I think there's some really incredible positive things we can do. I think that counts. Going to be good. I think it's going to be even better if you have a precedent with these parents and kids. And my daughter who says, I was present without you in bed, because we couldn't take my bed when we had the fleeting son. The PR attempts on this is massive, and the shot of adrenaline in the American people who frankly are going really negative right now is immense. And I want that for my country, because I want to see this administration succeed. That's my heart. And if that was any different, I would have taken $2 million back in 2021 as a settlement for that first arrest. I would have fought. I chose not to fight for myself because I wanted to help everyone else. And we want to believe in you guys. We want to help you. We want to make this a win for everybody. I think these politics are easy because who's going to believe a school mom is a terrorist? I mean, honestly.
Well, I agree with that. Well, when you put stuff out into the last year and so you better do something by January 15th or else. My response is somebody who was a journalist and has a master's degree in terrorism. That's my response was, say, I know supposed to be recording your, don't answer it. So my response, as well as the whole DOJ was, we don't shame the terrorists. Do not threaten us.
But here's the threat. The threat was to say, we're just going to talk about how nothing's been done.
So because I wrote an article saying nothing's been done to help us, it's been a long time, we've been ignored. And if you can't show us something meaningful by January 15th, I'm going to go to the media and express the feelings of the parents that, does anybody care about us? That's terrorism. How's that different than what Garland said when I sat in an office meeting or other people went to school board meetings and expressed our opinions and got called a terrorist for it? Tell me how that's different, because it felt chillingly the same. And I left that meeting where this guy said that and I was all smiles because I want to be cooperative. I don't want to be seen as hostile.
This is Vance Day, right?
Yeah.
Well, first of all, he's a pompous ass. So that's my first comment. I'm happy I wasn't in that meeting because I would have tore him up from head to toe. So first I would have gotten him on the fact that there's no cause of action. Okay, let me give you an example of what a cause of action is. Shall we? Okay. Abusive process, one. Assault, fraud. Okay. Where else? Malicious prosecution. Where else can I go with this one? Negligence, duress, invasion of privacy. Oh, I'm sorry, Vance Day. What law school did you go to exactly? No cause of action, and then you have the nerve to look at someone in the face and say, "Don't talk to me that way."
He's a former judge.
Don't threaten. Oh, judges are morons, and lawyers are morons too. I've dealt with them as well. I've gone toe to toe with them, and I've won every single hearing I've ever been to. So let's start there. They usually put the idiots in office, which is clearly what Vance Day is. You're a moron. So I just gave you causes of action, and then you turn around and talk to an American citizen and tell them, "Don't tell me what to do." Or like, on what planet do you live on? Because obviously you don't understand the Constitution whatsoever. I will tell you what to do. I will speak with authority. And if you turn around now, I want to sue Vance Day. Why don't we throw that in there? I think we should turn around because I have plenty causes of actions right now just against Vance Day himself. I should also tell you that you should probably file some sort of a disciplinary action against exactly what he said in that meeting.
And I agree.
To do that, I would love to outpaper Mr. Vance Day. What an asshole.
We need help because I only have so much time, and I already, I have a big family. I'm trying to make a living. I'm trying to deal with this. It's hard for me to do everything. And, they went out after this and did they tried to do damage control on this. They went to several members of the media, some of the ones with integrity, like Emerald Robinson refused to take it down. Others colluded with them and went along with them and said, "Oh, they didn't say what you said." They said, Kelly, and one person texted me and said, "They don't think you're a terrorist." And I'm like, so and so, he literally said that, and I'm thinking, when did you sell your soul? They said what they said, and this person's first response when they interviewed me was, "They all need to be fired." And then the DOJ approached them, and the whole thing changes, and the interview's gone.
Don't threaten us. Don't threaten us after we're sitting here telling you that we were surveilled, surveilled illegally, by the way, subpoenas were sent out for my name. My Pennsylvania Attorney General came after me. FBI came after me. People's children were taken. They were talking about using the Patriot Act. What to imprison us? I've death threats, hate mail, and you want to tell me that I don't have the right to tell you what to do? Please,
the irony.
No. Now I want a full interview with this guy. So whoever is out there in the news media, even if it's CNN, please put me in a room with Vance Day. I would love
and that's what
to
I've
rip
said.
him to shreds.
I've offered this again and again. Put me on camera with Todd Blanche. Some people have offered that. They're chicken shit. They won't do it
No, of course
because they
not.
know I have the truth. But think of the irony of that. I'm walking in to the most powerful law enforcement agency in the world as a broke-ass father who's been persecuted for 5-6 years, and I'm a threat to them. Are you kidding me? Sorry for my language. I do that when I get mad.
You'll take that out.
Language. But
I know. I get you fired up. I know.
the irony of that I'm
What
going
an
to this
ass.
powerful entity that tried very hard to destroy American citizens, and I'm a threat? Are you kidding me?
They're all listen. I just wrote an article on my Substack. Okay, the Delco Patriot. Okay, I just wrote an article about they don't want you at their table, so make your own. Make your own table. And I've been saying it to people. I'm not. It's just like in business. Like if people are like they're crying about Elon Musk, he's a trillionaire. Good for him. That's the beauty of America. Okay, why are you crying about it? Like, I don't know, invest in his company or make something of your own, which you can. Like, I'm not going to cry because I'm not sitting here with trillions of dollars because I'm not Elon Musk. Like, that's just dumb, right? And I'm not going to cry and listen to this nonsense of like, you can't sit at my table. That's like, all the women that were in that picture. Oh, you can't be here because you're not polished. Oh, okay. I don't care. You know what's going to happen? I'm going to force you to do your job, and I'm going to keep my character. So you can take your reputation and shove it right up your ass, because that doesn't matter to me. What matters is who I am to my kid and how I leave this earth, being a good Christian. That's what I care about. End of story.
And these people who stood up and presumed to speak for us, they knew that Vance Day and this administration are not for us. One of them said, you're not invited because you misbehaved, and that's justified. Who the hell are you to judge me? You didn't go through what I went through.
Nope.
Everybody who knows me says, Kelly, how have you been so patient after what you've been put through? I've had people say to me, I couldn't have survived 10% of what you've gone through. What you've gone through would have crushed you.
Yep.
I had the opportunity to sit with James O'Keefe in Nashville this late winter, early spring. We talked for 3 hours, and he said, Kelly, everybody in Washington, D.C., and then that whole circle is for sale. They have a price. Yes. He looked at me and he said, Kelly, how come you don't have a price? And I said, I'm not doing this for me. That's why. And you have to look at who's doing this for their country to serve their fellow man, and compare that with people who are actually doing it for themselves, who want to make a career out of this, who want to be in the spotlight. If you're stepping on the downtrodden to have a place in the spotlight, shame on you.
Well, and if you do it to me, see, I'm the kind of person where the people are like, oh my gosh, don't go low, go high. No, that's not my ministry. When people go low and you step on my back and you do something to me that is so just blatantly obvious and it's self-serving and you screw me over, I don't go high. Okay. I go to like the very low depths, and I will make sure, okay, that not only do I expose you, okay, but I'm going to destroy you. And I'm going to show everyone, and I'm going to put a mirror in front of your face and to the world, and I'm going to tell everyone who you are. And if it's the truth, then it's not defamation. And if it's the truth, okay, then you should be ashamed of yourself, okay? And that's what I'm good at doing. I'm good at shaming people for what they do to me, okay? What they do to me, especially. So that's where I am in this world. And if anyone has a problem with it, you can reach out at any point. All my stuff's public. Please come at me. Please threaten me with some kind of lawsuit. I've been down this road. The defense to defamation is the truth. I've used it. I've been successful with it. So don't threaten me with a good time. That's all I'm saying. Don't threaten me with a good time. I love
it. Leah, my wife has been so supportive, and she's wonderful, and she's strong when I'm weak and vice versa. But I can't tell you how many times she's just shed tears because she's said, I want her life back. She said, I can't even talk to my family anymore because they all stabbed me in the back and betrayed me because of how this was portrayed. When I have to say no to my kids, can I get this shirt from Goodwill? Well, we don't have the money right now. My kids don't give a damn if they wear clothes from Goodwill. They're homeschooled. But, it's the human cost that these pompous stuffed shirts in DC don't care about.
Nope.
Because we live with this every day. We live with that stigma. And Vance Day, by the way, he got disbarred, or whatever they call it when you strip a judge of authority, because he wouldn't do a gay wedding and for other reasons. And then he has the audacity to sit in this position of privilege and tell me, don't expect, because he said, what do you want, Kelly? I said, I want my life back and the lives of these other families. He said, don't expect the DOJ to give you your life back. You absolute wretch. You were just handed your life back on our dime by Donald Trump. And you're going to sit there and tell me, don't expect to get what I got. I wanted to like this guy. I was very hesitant to release those recordings because I'm not in this to ruin anybody's life. I'm not in this to disparage anyone. I just want to help the parents. But it came to a point where I'm like, this has to be exposed. You made your own bed. You're going to lie in it.
So you're not ruining anyone's lives. You're not ruining his life. He ruined his own, first of all. And I'm sorry. No one's able to put any kind of recording out about me that would ruin my life. Not in 6 years, not ever. So, I mean, in the grand scheme, like, it's their problem. They're doing it to themselves. It's what he said. It's what he did. So if you release the truth and it ends up happening to ruin his life, he did it.
Yeah,
They're his words.
He did.
Make them eat their own words. I don't care about exposing these people. If you did nothing wrong, you got nothing to worry about. Why can't I record you?
Well, and when he referred to us as terrorists, I had no problem exposing that, because I'm like, you just said the worst thing you could say to somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you were speaking to a woman who'd been raped and said, well, you know, you really shouldn't wear such short skirts, or yeah, you really are a floozy.
Mm-hmm.
It's so offensive, but it's worse than offensive. Like I said, it's a legal term that we've been stigmatized under for years, that some of us have lost family members, friends, jobs. Try to apply for a job when you're all over the internet as a terrorist. You pompous ass that you would say that.
Well,
It's
first of
on
all, let's discuss. First of all, we don't even meet the definition of a
But let me
terrorist.
just real quick. He said it's the opinion of the whole DOJ, so it wasn't just his.
So,
and Todd Blanche knows about this. Believe me, he knows, and he hasn't done anything to rectify it.
The legal term for even just a threat, not even so threat, right? Terrorism, two totally different legal terms. So when it comes to a threat, right, where he said, "Don't threaten us," so there are things there's qualifications, right? So it has to be who, what, where, when, and how. So if those 5 things are not met, it's not a threat. That's it. So no one's threatening anything, Vance. And then secondly, where's the terrorism part of it? Like, they throw this word around just like the National School Board Association did in the letter. When I read it, and I was beside myself. I said, they want to use the Patriot Act, which first of all I said was one of the worst things that's ever, besides the Patriot Act, there's the PrEP Act, which was given to us by George W. Huge surveillance, by the way. But the Patriot Act, to say that we are terrorists, I could not believe that I was reading that in a letter to the DOJ. And then he uses the word, it's like when they use racist or homophobe, like it's just so willy-nilly. Like, just use the word terrorist and it has no meaning other than to just make your point.
And like I said, where was the threat? The only threat was to the false front that they put up, that they're in there getting it done. And, you know, I like Harmeet Dillon. I've met her. I've talked to her. I think she's doing some good work, but I also think she was praising Pam Bondi till the end. Pam Bondi got fired. Now she's praising Todd Blanche. I emailed Harmeet Dillon and said, I need some whistleblower protection, because what was done is beyond the pale. But unfortunately, they have this hierarchy in the system where you don't dare speak against the boss. Jonathan Gross and some others who were on the weaponization working group have spoken out. What I know is that in that meeting, I also learned that they had gotten rid of Ed Martin, destroyed, basically taken apart the weaponization working group. I knew that apparently before President Trump did. Now they have this facade that they're actually working for us, but they're not. There is no weaponization working group. In fact, the Department of Justice, I'm just going to call them the Department of Weaponization, because that's where they stand.
Let's get this roundtable going.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm ready. And I have a great production crew. I have excellent contacts when it comes to that kind of stuff, where they could, turn this into really something that needs to be It needs to be sent out to the American people so they can see what's really going on.
All right, let's do it. If you get the chance to donate, it'll cover some travel and different things. So, Leah, thanks so much. We need your fire. You're an American hero in my eyes. So we'll talk again soon. Thanks for taking the time today.
Well, thank you for everything, Kelly. You're a great patriot.
Glad to do it. I'd do it again. Bye-bye.